alarm buzzed at 6 in the morning. Michael's hand shot out from under the blanket, silencing it with a tired slap. The faint smell of burnt pancakes filled the small kitchen as sunlight crept through half-open blinds. He sighed, rubbing his eyes. It was another day, another morning of being both mom and dad. "Emma, time to wake up, sweetheart," he called, flipping a pancake with clumsy precision. From the bedroom came a sleepy voice. "5 more minutes, Daddy," he smiled. 5 minutes means no syrup. Tiny feet thudded against the wooden floor. Moments later, Emma appeared, a 7-year-old with messy hair, one sock missing, and sleepy eyes that sparkled just like her mother's once had. Michael crouched down and fixed her hair gently. "Big day today, remember?" "Parent-teacher night," Emma blinked. "You promise you'll come this time?" Her question cut deep. He'd missed the last 2 meetings because of work. Guilt flickered across his face, but he masked it with a soft smile. "I wouldn't miss it for the world, kiddo." He dropped her off at school, watching her run toward the entrance with that bounce only a child could have. He stood there longer than he needed to, staring until she disappeared inside. Then he turned back to his old Toyota, the car that rattled like it was coughing up its last breath, and drove off to his repair shop. The day passed in blurs of broken screens, tangled wires, and noise. Michael fixed computers like a machine, his hands working, his mind elsewhere. Sometimes he wondered if this was all there was: wake up, work, cook, repeat. He'd traded his dreams for survival the moment Emma was born. Her mother had left not long after, unable to handle the pressure. He never hated her, but he never forgave her either. By evening, he was exhausted. Still, when Emma's reminder popped up on his phone, "Parent night 7 p.m., something inside him stirred. He looked at himself in the dusty mirror of his shop, straightened his collar, and whispered, "Let's try not to look like a zombie tonight." The school hall buzzed with chatter and laughter. Colorful drawings lined the walls, and the faint scent of crayons mixed with baked cookies. Parents talked proudly about grades, children giggled, and somewhere in that noise Michael walked in, tired, nervous but trying to smile. "Daddy." "You made it," Emma squealed, throwing her arms around him. He lifted her up, smiling for real this time. "Of course I did. So where's your teacher hiding?" She pointed toward a corner of the classroom. Michael followed her gaze, and then everything inside him froze. There she was. Standing near the window, wearing a navy blue dress that whispered elegance, was a woman he hadn't seen in more than a decade. Olivia Carter, his first love, the one who'd vanished from his life without a word. For a moment, the noise around him disappeared. All he could hear was his heartbeat. Slow, heavy, disbelieving. She turned slightly, her eyes scanning the room, then locked onto his. And just like that, time stopped. Her expression changed from polite composure to stunned recognition. The same softness that once lived in her smile flickered for a second, only to be replaced by professional calm. Michael swallowed hard, his voice barely audible. "Emma, who's that?" "That's Principal Carter," she said proudly. "She's the new head of the school." "Everyone says she's really nice on principal." The word echoed in his head. So she wasn't just here, she was in charge. Before he could turn away, Olivia approached. Her heels clicked softly against the tiled floor, each step bringing back memories he'd buried long ago. "Mr. Bennett," she said, extending a hand, her voice calm but trembling slightly. "It's been a while." He took her hand hesitantly. "Olivia." She blinked at the sound of her name. "It's Principal Carter now." A thin smile tugged at his lips. "Right, Principal Carter." For a moment, neither spoke. The air between them was thick with what they didn't say. She looked composed. The same woman who once dreamed of starting a business, now standing before him, a CEO turned school principal. Yet beneath her confidence, he saw the same sadness in her eyes. "How have you been?" she asked. "Surviving," he replied, a hint of laughter in his tone, though it didn't reach his eyes. He glanced at Emma, who was showing another kid her drawings. "She's beautiful," Olivia whispered softly, "just like her father, when he used to smile." Michael's chest tightened. "Yeah, she's my whole world." "I can see that," Olivia said, her voice almost breaking before she caught herself. "She's lucky to have you, lucky." The word felt strange. He didn't feel lucky, not after the years of struggling, the lonely nights, the dreams that died quietly while he learned how to braid his daughter's hair. and stretch $50 for a week. As the meeting continued, Olivia gave her formal speech about school values and goals, but Michael couldn't hear half of it. He watched her caught between anger, nostalgia, and something else, something dangerously close to longing. When the event ended, parents began leaving. Emma ran ahead clutching a cookie. Michael lingered. Olivia stood near the doorway organizing papers, pretending to be busy. He walked over slowly. "Didn't think I'd ever see you again." She didn't look up. "Neither did I. What happened to you, Olivia?"
"One day we were planning the future, and the next, I got scared," she interrupted, her voice trembling.
"Of failure. Of being stuck. I left thinking I could come back when I had something to offer. But life doesn't wait." Michael looked down, jaw tight. "Yeah, it doesn't." There was silence. Years of unspoken words hung in the air like heavy rain that refused to fall. Finally, she looked at him, her eyes glassy. "I never stopped thinking about you." He forced a small smile. "You have a funny way of showing it." Her lips parted as if to reply, but she stopped. Emma came running up, hugging Michael's leg. "Daddy, can we go now?" He nodded. "Yeah, kiddo. Let's go." Before turning away, he looked at Olivia one last time. "You look good, Olivia." "Different, but good." Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "So do you. Tired, but good." He chuckled faintly and walked away. Outside, the night air was cold. Michael buckled Emma into the car seat, his thoughts spinning. He started the engine, glanced at the school building through the windshield, and saw her standing by the window watching them drive away. He didn't wave. She didn't move. But somehow both knew this wasn't the end. Inside the car, Emma hummed softly, half asleep. Michael smiled faintly, whispering to himself, "Guess the past doesn't stay buried for long." And somewhere inside that quiet, the first crack appeared in the walls around his heart, a wall he thought would never break again. The city slept under a silver moon, but Michael couldn't. He sat on the couch, half-empty coffee mug in hand, staring at the quiet glow of the television that played nothing in particular. His mind wasn't in the room. It was back in that school, back in that moment when Olivia Carter's eyes met his after all those years. He told himself it was nothing. Just coincidence. Just two old lives brushing past each other again. But deep down he knew better. The next morning, Emma bounded into the kitchen, full of energy. "Daddy, guess what? Principal Carter said she's going to help me with the science fair." Michael almost dropped his mug. "She what?" Emma grinned, showing her missing front tooth. "She said I could come after class so she can help me build my volcano." Of course she did, he thought. Olivia always loved science fairs. Back in college, she once spent 2 nights awake helping him build a model rocket that ended up exploding mid-presentation. They had laughed so hard they got thrown out of the lab. Now she was about to build volcanoes with his daughter. He forced a smile. "That's great, sweetheart." But as the day went on, Michael couldn't shake the thought. Why would she volunteer for that? Was she trying to reconnect? Or was it just coincidence again? That afternoon, when he came to pick Emma up, he saw her through the classroom window. Olivia was kneeling beside her, showing her how to paint lava on cardboard. Emma was laughing, really laughing. And for the first time, Michael saw something he hadn't seen in years. His daughter bonding with someone like a mother. He didn't interrupt. He just stood there quietly watching, conflicted. When Olivia finally looked up and noticed him, she smiled faintly and waved. He hesitated, then stepped inside. "Hey, volcano experts," he said, leaning on the doorframe. "Looks like someone's having fun." Emma jumped up. "Daddy, look what we made." He knelt beside her. "That's incredible, Em." Olivia stood, brushing paint off her hands. "She's a natural. You should be proud." Michael nodded, though his gaze lingered on her longer than it should have. "Always am." Emma looked between them. "Can Principal Carter come to our science fair too?" Olivia smiled softly. "Only if your dad says yes." Michael opened his mouth to reply, but words failed him. "We'll see," he said awkwardly. Later, as they walked to the car, Emma skipped along beside him, humming, "Daddy, Principal Carter's nice. She laughs like you do," he chuckled. "That's probably a bad thing." "No, it's good," she said seriously. "You don't laugh much anymore." The words hit him harder than he expected. He didn't answer. Over the next few weeks, Olivia became a constant presence in their lives. She'd wave from the school gates, help Emma with projects, and occasionally check in with Michael about her progress. At first, he tried to keep things formal, a polite smile, a short reply, but life has a way of softening edges. One afternoon, after a parent meeting, she called out, "Michael." Wait, he turned, holding Emma's bag. "Yeah?" She hesitated. "There's a cafe nearby. Would you like to grab a coffee? Just to catch up?" He almost said no. Every sensible part of him screamed, "Don't go there." But one look at her, the same calm eyes, the faint nervousness in her voice, and the years between them began to fade. "Sure," he said quietly. The cafe was quiet, soft jazz playing in the background. For a while they just sat, letting the awkward silence stretch. Olivia stirred her coffee, glancing up occasionally. "So," she began, "how's life treating you?" He smirked. "Depends on the day. Some days it treats me like an old friend. Some days like a punching bag." She smiled faintly. "Still funny, I see. Still beautiful," he said before he could stop himself. Her eyes flickered, caught off guard. "Michael." He looked away, embarrassed. "Sorry, that just slipped out." She shook her head. "Don't be sorry." They sat in silence again, but this time it was different, softer, familiar. Finally, she said, "I heard about your wife." He nodded slowly. "She left when Emma was 2. Said she couldn't handle it. I guess I can't blame her." Olivia looked down. "I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that." He laughed quietly without joy. "I didn't deserve you leaving either." Her hand froze midair. The guilt in her eyes was unmistakable. "I know. I've replayed that day 1,000 times." He met her gaze. "Then why?" "I was scared," she whispered. "You wanted a family, a home. I wanted success. I thought love would hold me back, so I ran. And when I finally got everything I thought I wanted, it didn't mean anything." Her voice broke. "I built an empire but lost the only person who ever believed in me." Michael didn't reply. He just stared into his cup, heart pounding. "I never stopped loving you," she said softly. He looked up, eyes glistening. "You have a funny way of showing it." She nodded, tears threatening to fall. "I know. But if you can't forgive me, I'll understand." The words hung between them like a fragile thread. "I don't know if I can," he said honestly, "but maybe. I can try." Her lips trembled into a smile, small, hopeful, almost afraid. Days passed and somehow, they began spending more time together. Sometimes for Emma, sometimes for reasons neither dared admit. Emma adored her. They'd bake cookies, paint, and talk for hours. Olivia brought laughter back into their home. The kind Michael hadn't heard in years, but he was careful. Love had burned him once. This time he approached it like handling glass. Slowly, gently, afraid it would shatter. One evening after dinner, there was a knock at the door. Olivia stood outside holding a folder. "Sorry to drop by," she said, "but Emma forgot her drawings at school. I thought she might need them." He smiled faintly. "You could have emailed them." "I wanted to make sure she got them," she replied softly. They stood there awkwardly until Emma ran to the door, squealing. "Olivia, you came!" Olivia laughed and hugged her. Just for a minute. Michael watched the two of them, something warm blooming in his chest. "Stay for dinner?" he asked impulsively. She hesitated. "I don't want to intrude." "You already are," he teased. "Might as well sit down." They ate together, laughing, sharing stories. It felt natural, almost too natural. After Emma went to bed, Michael poured them each a cup of tea. "Feels strange," he said quietly, "like the universe hit the rewind button." "Maybe it's giving us a second chance," she replied, looking at him over her cup. He shook his head. "Second chances don't happen in real life." She smiled faintly. "Then maybe this is the first one that does." The next few months blurred into something beautiful. Olivia became part of their small world. Emma called her Aunt Liv, and Michael, well, he stopped fighting what his heart already knew. One Saturday, the school hosted the big science fair. Emma's volcano project won first prize. When she ran up to accept her ribbon, Michael and Olivia clapped side by side. Their hands brushed and neither pulled away. After the ceremony, as families took photos, Olivia turned to him. "You did good, Michael," he smiled. "We did good," she laughed softly. "You sound like the old days." He looked at her, eyes warm. "Maybe they're coming back." Before she could respond, Emma ran toward them, waving her ribbon. "We did it, Daddy. We did it." Michael lifted her high into the air, spinning her around. Olivia watched, her heart melting. Principal Carter, Emma giggled. Can you come to the park with us tomorrow? Olivia looked at Michael. If your dad says yes, Michael grinned. We'd like that. The next day, the three of them went to the park. Emma played on the swings while Michael and Olivia sat on a bench watching. Remember when we used to dream about this? He said quietly. A house, a kid, a life that made sense. She nodded. I remember. I just didn't know how much it would hurt to lose it. He looked at her, the wind lifting a strand of her hair. Then don't lose it again. She turned to him, tears glimmering. Are you saying... I'm saying maybe I'm ready to forgive, he whispered. For her sake, for mine. For ours. Her breath caught. Slowly she reached out, her fingers brushing his hand. He didn't pull away. Emma came running, giggling, holding a flower she'd picked. Daddy, can we keep her? Michael and Olivia both laughed through their tears. He looked at his daughter, then at Olivia, and said softly, I think she's already home. The sun dipped low behind them, painting the sky in gold. For the first time in years, Michael didn't feel broken. He felt whole. And as Olivia leaned her head on his shoulder, the world finally made sense again, because sometimes love doesn't fade. It just waits for the right time to come home.